Welcome to the Killshot MMA podcast. It's UFC 305 Duplessis versus Adesanya for the UFC middleweight championship. I'm Sniper. That's Monk. We got 12 fights on tap for you. Going to cover all things. We're going to break them all down. We're going to talk all things DraftKings. First, hit the like button. Share with your friends. Let's make some money. Back to a two-man podcast this week. And Monk, everyone's going to be happy to see you because I fucked up last week. I know it was a weird card, but every stand I took, it didn't go my way. I'm not one of those touts who's going to pretend, going to get them all right. I'm going to have more winning weeks than losing weeks. But last week was a rough one, man. Well, last week I was all about Chelsea Chandler. And yeah, I know she ran away from Norma Dumont. Ha, ha, ha. But Yana Santos I know you were on her. I wish you were here. I just didn't see it. I didn't get the line. There were two or three other spots that I was like, this is the stand I'm going to take. And I looked as bad as Danny Barlow did.
Well, I'll jump into the frying pan with you there. I was big on Barlow, bigger than his left hand, which was pretty small in this fight. And yeah, the people would have only gotten to hear my hot take to play Yana Santos, hoping for a few more, but it wasn't a hot take. She just won. No big deal. So yeah, it was I was not on Denise. I was not on Kazama. I did, however, score the Nikolai Veretenov kite 30-27 for Nikolai. So I was the judge. Sorry guys. That was my bad.
No, it was Jaron Villel.
Yeah, it was
stunning.
I heard he got his shit I heard he got yelled at by Mike Beltran. Pretty good. So yeah.
Good. Because what the fuck was that?
Yeah, that was wild.
I was on the knees as like a GPP play. Regardless, let's go to UFC 305. We got 12 fights.
Yes,
hopefully no weight misses, cancellations. By the way, if Barlow missed by a quarter of a pound, just to go back for one quick second, shave the shit off the back of your head. What the fuck was that? Cut that off. Weird.
That skullet was definitely a quarter pound for sure.
Like, just okay. Is it really worth whatever money? Whatever. Anyway, let's talk UFC at 305. 12 fights. I'm assuming everybody has already hit the like button as requested. Drop a comment along the way, and let's start with the first fight of the night. One debutant in Stewart Nickel, taking on a one-fight UFC veteran in Jesus Aguilar. Nickel is the favorite making his UFC debut. He's minus 230. The comeback on Aguilar is plus 190. I thought it was interesting. The fight goes to decision is minus 135. When you dig into their respective topologies and watch tape, both guys finish. They are beating up people on the regional scene. Your salaries for this one, Nickel is 9,000. Comeback on Aguilar is 7,200. Monk, because I missed you and because I don't want to fucking do this fight first, you get to go first.
I was waiting for that actually, and that's totally fine and justified. I don't know. I'm a stat guy. I have no stats on Nickel. He has no DWCS fights. He's 8-0 against 8 Australian dudes from Boogie Down Productions. No, Beat Down Promotions. I don't know what that means exactly, but he's got 7 finishes and 1 decision win. So let's look at Jesus Aguilar. Shannon Ross fight, throw it out because it's Shannon Ross. Tatsuro Taira, you almost got to throw that one out too because it's Tatsuro Taira. But if you don't, Aguilar didn't do anything in that fight. And then you're left with the Mateus Mendonça.
This is his third UFC fight? Wow, I thought he was on like his second.
This is his fourth.
Fucking some of these are forgettable.
This is his fourth one against Stewart. So
bad.
Definitely forgettable for sure. But yeah, you're left with the Mateus Mendonça. He lands 1.27 strikes per minute over 15 minutes, does Aguilar. He outstruck his opponent in that fight, though. Scored like 2 points per minute. So I'm not really, he allowed 4 takedowns, got controlled for 60% of the fight. I don't know, man. He's fighting decent opponents, in Taira. But I just don't trust Aguilar. Obviously, I don't trust Nickel. Dude's got less than 10 fights. He's fighting in Australia from Beatdown Productions. This screams GPP fight. I'm not going to spend any more time on it. The salary is kind of crazy, probably. $9K for a debuting fighter is a bit wild and untrustworthy. But then again, I guess you play Aguilar at 72 and hope for the veteran to get the job done. So yeah, I'm going with Aguilar. I don't trust Nickel. I got to see it first.
Ditto, pretty much.
Love it.
mean, I don't have a lot to add. And Nickel, got to see it. Regardless, I think Aguilar is the better DraftKings play, but it's a GPP fight. Don't trust either one of them in cash. Don't go there. Just like Monk, I kind of need to see it against better competition. I don't think Mendonca's a terrible win. I know Mendonca's got his issues, but in terms of where the level's at, I would argue Aguilar's faced better competition. Mm-hmm. Even throwing out Tatsuro Taira, like he was on Contender Series, and he fought in Kambache. Like, I think this line's too wide. I think this should, to me, when I was watching tape, I was like, I don't know who's fucking gonna win. Like, pick them. Like, I had no, like, I was like, they both have their pros and cons. I expected a -110 apiece. This was too wide. GPP fight. Not gonna not play nickel, but I'll have more Aguilar for the price.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to. I don't want to talk about this fight either, but I get to make myself go first here. Well done, sniper. You fucking idiot. Canan Song taking on Ricky Glenn. I don't want to call you Rick Glenn. You are Ricky Glenn. Line on this fight, current line, Song is -165. So come back for when Tapology posted this. Ricky Glenn is +135. Ends inside the distance. Does not go to decision. -200, which means, shit, now I got to play this in GPPs. All right, so start looking at salaries. Song Canan is 8,700. Ricky Glenn is 7,500. Is that right? -200 to go inside the distance? I thought it was opposite.
Yeah, that's right. I have that too. It sounds insane, but it's right.
That's fucking crazy.
Well, they have
all right.
Yeah. 3 KOs apiece in their past 5 fights.
The problem is, for me, the favorite in this Song doesn't throw a lot of volume. He doesn't really grapple. He needs the knockout to score anything decent. And Ricky Glenn, that is the concern, is that Ricky Glenn does appear to be falling off a cliff, has gotten knocked out in each of his last 2 fights. Christos Giagos, that one's more concerning to me than Drew Dober. Drew Dober knocks a lot of fucking people out. Also, taking this fight 3 months after you got knocked out was not a good look. The 10 months here is more appropriate. Both guys are aging. Both are slowing down. I don't trust Song Canan at this price. There's other pay-ups I want to have, although this range is gross. From between 8,500 and Josh Culiba, and I will include to 8,800 Steve Erceg. And people are going to fight me on that one, but we'll talk about it. That whole range of 4 fighters is fucking gross, and I want nothing to do with it. And then go, but one of my favorites is 9,800 this week. Oh, good. The bright side to that range being gross means we do have dog options, and we got some to fit in. I would put Ricky Glenn in that category because if he wins, just in terms of breaking down the fight, I'm going to pick him because he's got more volume and he's got grappling. Just don't get knocked out. It's a dicey thing for me to say there, but for those reasons, I'm going to have to pick Ricky Glenn, and I do think he's the better DraftKings option. Just when you mix in the price. I don't think Song is my first full fade. I do have a couple where I'm going to tell you I want no part of this. I want a little part of Song, and it's mostly because I don't trust Ricky Glenn's chin anymore. What do you got, Monk?
Yeah, I mostly agree. I would need a little bit of Canan Song because of what you just said about Ricky Glenn and his chin, or seemingly lack thereof. I mean, he's 1-3-1 in his last fight, only beating Joaquim Silva, who he KO'd in less than a minute and scored 140 points. So that's probably what I would consider an anomaly there. So I'm not too interested, but at that price, I kind of have to play him. And really, like you said to start your argument off, I'd fade this whole fight if it wasn't for the fact it was -200 ITD. So you kind of have to play some. I'll unfortunately have
that
more.
Feels weird.
It's so weird, but it's on Bet Online. That's where I got mine today, and that was as of like 3 hours ago. I think I put it in. So not much more to say. I hate this fight. Not playing either side in cash. Nobody lands volume, like you said, unless Song finds that KO. He's not going to score well, most likely. Probably a decision. Winner scores 80, 85. Yeah, but you got to have some just in case. that ridiculous minus 200.
I almost want to bet goes to decision for like just a tiny bit because it doesn't
They
feel
must
right.
know that, like, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
Glenn's been KO'd twice in less than 2 minutes, basically, in a row. I don't know what else. That's got to be why.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk beatdown. I'm glad you get to go first for this one. Tom, Big Train Nolan taking on Alex Reyes. Yep, that's Alex Reyes. New UFC fans, no idea who he is. I mean, most old UFC fans would be like, who? But Mike kind of know him. I did in my notes refer to him as an MMA octogenarian, which I think is 100% accurate at this point. The reason why I'm giving such a long intro is because the breakdown shouldn't take very long. Tom Nolan is a minus 1,200 favorite. The comeback on Alex Reyes is plus 650, which is not enough in my book. Tom Nolan is 9,800. Alex Reyes is 6,400. Some more fun lines for you guys if you want to dive into this phenomenal fight. Fight ends into the distance, minus 1,600. Nolan wins by KO TKO is minus 425. Nolan wins in round 1 is minus 185. I have not. Those are prime Amanda Nunes numbers. Like,
yeah.
Sheesh. All right, Monk, break it down. Give us the in-depth analysis.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's Dominic Reyes' brother. That is true? Yeah,
I believe.
I'm not joking. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Also, his nickname's the Executioner. That's kind of wild. He should change the R to a D because that's what he's been doing. The stats on this fighter are insane. There's 3 losses between 4 fights. Each guy has 2 fights. They've each been knocked down in all 4 fights. 1-1-1-1. So each guy has a questionable chin for sure. Tom Nolan obviously wins against Victor Martinez after he did get knocked down, as I just mentioned. Yeah, this won't take long. Look, Tom Nolan is obviously the side. I don't even know why this fight is sanctioned. I don't know how Alex Reyes is still fighting, or at least still in the UFC. This is crazy. He basically had something with his back. He was paralyzed like 4 years ago, worked his way. It's an incredible story. Don't get me wrong. But then Mike Perry beat him easily. Then Charlie Campbell beat him. Or no, that was before the surgery. He comes back for the Charlie Campbell fight, and he lasts like less than 4 minutes. It shouldn't have even taken that long. Long story short, Nolan should win. Here's the question. Is he worth playing at 9,800? Maybe. I really think there's a chance that he wins in one. I mean, really. I don't see... He could easily win. You know, so who else was it? Pfeiffer? No, Bo Nickel was 9,800 once. He has made the optimal lineup, so it has happened. As we said, maybe some dogs will come through. The upper mid-range looks like shit this week. The 9K range is kind of shit this week. Maybe you got to get Tom Nolan in. See what you can do. He might be worth it. I don't want any part of Alex Reyes. 0%.
I will also be full fading Alex Reyes. I'm going to go ahead and play Big Train Tom Nolan. This fight is comedy. You've got quick KO Charlie Campbell last time out. I'm not worried about the salary. Wherever you can fit him in. Play him some in GPPs. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to go 70% Nolan because he's so fucking expensive, but I might try.
Yeah.
Like, there's enough dogs I like. Like, it's yeah, I'm about Tom Nolan here. Let's not. Oh, good. Because another, like, I swear the fights are going to get better, guys, because this is the other ridiculously priced fight on this card. But I can dive into this one a little bit more than the last fight. We got Jenkins taking on Herbie Burns here. Line on this fight, I have to close all the fucking ridiculous numbers from the Reyes Nolan fight. All right, Jack Jenkins, is a steal comparatively at minus 800. The comeback on Herbert Burns is plus 500. Fight ends into the distance is minus 600. Jenkins wins by TKO is minus 225. And your Jenkins wins in round 1 prop. Where did it go? They didn't post it yet. Oh, wait. Yes, I did. Jenkins. plus 185. So clearly that is it's a great pricing compared to the last fight. DraftKings salary: Jenkins is 9,600, Burns is 6,600. Look, Herbert Burns looked awful in the UFC. He got knocked out by Daniel Pineda, Bill Algeo, Julio Arce. The Arce loss isn't great. These are legit losses, though. Like, and then remember, he had, he knocked out Nate Landwehr. He finished Evan Dunham. I know the ghosted Evan Dunham. The point is, though, there's tons of finishes on his resume. It's a high variance, high volatility fight. And we had that weird arm injury from Jenkins last time out. Is he totally recovered from that? Is he going to be able to grapple with Herbert Burns? Probably, but I have some more question marks here. There are enough question marks at Jenkins being this big of a favorite where I just go, all right, especially on this card, don't play Jenkins in cash. Just play play Tom Nolan. You cannot fit both. Play Tom Nolan in cash. Step 2, probably going to play more Nolan than Jenkins. Fine. I do think Nolan wins. He is better everywhere. I was kind of just picking out those few things I'm a little bit concerned about, to be super clear. And Herbert Burns is much better than Alex Reyes to the point where I'll take a couple stabs at 6,600. Like it's not like Jack Jenkins has shown us anything ridiculous. He beat Linares in Contender Series, Don Shanis in the UFC, Jamal Emmers. Jamal Emmers is a good win, but that was a split decision. He didn't run through the guy. Jamal Emmers is good. He's not great. Herbert Burns is definitely worse than Jamal Emmers, but this pricing after those last fights, more concerning. Jenkins is still the pick. GPP special type of fight. More exposure to Jenkins, but Burns is not your full fade. What do you got, Monk?
I hate to do it, but I 100% agree again. Like, I think you said everything perfectly, so I'll just give a couple of stats. The last 5 fights at least, because that's what I have in front of me. Herbert Burns, all KO, TKOs, and 1 sub. That was the Evan Dunham win. And then the 1 KO or the freak arm injury for Jenkins probably is the reason this is minus 600. But yeah, Burns allowed 7 points a minute to Pineda. He allowed 5.5 points a minute against Algeo, and he allowed 4.5 against Arce. So those are all extremely big numbers. And I completely agree. Use Nolan for cash, Jenkins and GPPs, maybe a little bit of Burns. Because like you said, Burns is no, Alex Reyes is no Herbert Burns, so we're not even comparing those. But Burns, like you said, looked absolute shit. Was carried out of the cage in one of his fights. Yeah, I like Jenkins, but 96. I know it is $200 and it will make lineup construction difficult, but at this point with these fighters on the card, 96 and 98, there's really no difference. So I'll still take Nolan pretty much in every format. But yeah, I like Jenkins to win.
Let's move on. Let's talk Casey King Casey ONeal against Luana Santos. Current odds on this fight: Luana Santos is the favorite, minus 145. The comeback on ONeal is plus 115. Fight goes to decision, minus 220. And your DraftKings salary here is, there we go. Luana Santos is 8,600. Casey ONeal is 7,600. Monk, you get the breakdown first. I will say, I guess it's interesting to me in that 2 trains go in opposite directions. Casey ONeal was hyped up back, losses to Jennifer Maia and all resurging Ariana Lipski, now Ariane Da Silva going by, came back off that injury, has lost a couple, whereas Luana Santos looks great, but it's 3 wins against Juliana Miller, who we can all agree is super flawed, Stephanie Egger, and Agapova is borderline Alex Reyes at this point. She's fucking awful. So it's 2 trains going different directions. Luana's the favorite. How do you have this fight?
I know I want to play it in GPPs. That's what I know.
Really?
Sure. Yeah. It is. I know it's plus 180, but both these women score pretty well, and neither one of them has fought anybody like. I'm not going to say good. ONeal, her last 2 opponents were good, but the strength of schedule numbers, because Lipski and Maia both have a ton of losses. I think Maia's in the double digits professionally. It evens out to where both strength of schedules are just god awful in the UFC. So I don't trust either one, which makes this, in my opinion, a high variance fight. add the hype train to one and the complete lack of hype that used to be hype on the other for Casey ONeal. And honestly, this could go either way. I do favor. Did I just get kicked? Oh, there we go.
No, you're back. That
my
was
screen
weird.
went black. Okay. I don't know where I cut off. But hype train, lack of hype train, yada, yada. I used to be big on Casey ONeal. I mean, she was putting up, there was a time, I think 2 years ago, where she was the #1 DraftKings scorer of anyone of that entire year, and it wasn't even close. Unfortunately, she's kind of fallen off a cliff. She did land 9 strikes a minute against Maya, 5 against Lipsky, but it's just not translating into wins, and we're going to need that for DraftKings this week. So long story short, I'll probably be higher on this fight than a lot of people, I assume, at plus 180, but I'm not going crazy on it. And I'm probably thinking Santos. I'm probably stupid for going with the hype. But if there's a time for Casey ONeal to turn it around, it's right fucking now, or else it's probably maybe not going to happen. So give me Santos to win, but I'm hoping we see a finish here. That's really what I'm hoping for.
Right. I'm down on the fight. It's 2 grapplers, high into the distance prop. I don't think there's going to be a finish. I'm with Vegas. I really think it's going to be a case of 2 grapplers canceling each other out and kind of striking and pawing. And, if Luana Santos is not finishing Stephanie Egger, I don't think she's going to finish Casey ONeal. I didn't think Lipsky was going to either. It's weird. I'm not done with Casey ONeal yet. I'm going to pick Casey ONeal. Luana Santos and her videos, if she wins, keep them coming. Oof. I mean, not to sound like creepy old men, but I am what I am. And that's where I am in the breakdown wise in terms of DraftKings for this fight. It's one of my lowest exposures on the card. So me and Monk finally disagree there. I won't be super high on this. And I will say, especially based on salary, I'll go to Casey ONeal at 7,600 in GPPs more often than I'm going to go to Luana Santos at 8,600. Moving on, we got Josh Culiba taking on Ricardo Hamos. Your line on this fight currently, Culiba is minus 135. Hamos is plus 105. Fight ends inside the distance is minus 125. Basically 50-50 to go all 5 rounds. Culiba is 8,500. Hamos is 7,700. And I have yet another dog to pick. That's why I can mess around at 9,800 and Tom Nolan, because I'm on Ricardo Hamos in this fight. Hamos, I think, is the better, not better. He's longer on the outside, right? He's a long striker, and he's able to get takedowns. And Culiba was giving up plenty of takedowns. The problem, Ricardo Hamos is being guillotined in 2 straight fights. Just don't get fucking guillotined. I assume you're working on it, and you should be fine. I would think. Like, he can get, Culiba lost to Laurel Murphy and Danny Silva. I get they're not terrible losses. He's got some good wins in there. I just think stylistically, I like the way Hamos matches up. I think he can keep Culiba on the outside and use his takedowns. If Culiba is able to stay upright and push the pace, I think he, on the feet, will take over late in this fight. I think there's a pretty clear path to Josh Culiba using some volume and kind of if he can stay upright. I just think Hamos is going to be able to get takedowns. To me, it's a 50-50 fight at 7,700. Hamos is the preferred play. It's an okay fight to target. We really, in terms of fights to target, we still have got to talk about, I think, Nolan and Jenkins, those spots aside. The main card, the next, or 5 of the next 6 fights are fantastic fights. Some you targeting both sides. So I know I've been saying it a bunch, but this one falls in the category of meh. But really, we had a back-end heavy card for DraftKings this week. Doesn't always work out that way, but the bigger names, I think, are the better spots to target. I will have quite a few lineups that we get to the main card that have 4 or 5 fighters left in it. I should have quite a lot of those this week. Monk, what are you thinking?
I agree. Just probably not the co-main and maybe the main either. But that's just me.
The main we'll talk about, but I can't just let it totally slide. That the main is a price issue. Is a giant price issue.
Is Israel Adesanya 6,100?
We can
because
talk about
otherwise he ain't fucking worth. Oh, yeah, we'll get there.
We're gonna get there.
I want to be on Ricardo Hamos here. I really do, because you know what you're going to get with Josh Culiba? It's not much as far as points go. In fact, he is historically the lowest scoring fighter per win on the entire card, and it's not close. 70.23 points per win for Josh Culiba. He put up 76 against Melsick, 75 against Sung Woo Choi, 60 against Nerdum BK, and that's just his last 3 wins. So I'm not interested. Long story short, I'm not interested in Josh Culiba basically at all. I don't care if the ITD has a minus in front of it. At 8,500, I might have a little bit for GPPs, but it's not anything I'm focused on. I don't want to play Ricardo Hamos. I don't trust him. Sniper said that hopefully he's practicing that. I don't think he's even thought about the fact that he's been guillotined twice in a row. I think he's more than happy to stick his fucking neck out there again and get it
God
squeezed.
damn it. Stop. We don't even say this shit.
Untrustable. I want to play him. I do. I was big on him. He scores well when he wins. At 7,700 against Aljo, he put up 98. At even at 9,300 against Chavez, he put up 101. I can't trust him. I'm gonna have to play him for GPPs. I'm not happy about it.
You got trust issues, Monk. You have trust issues.
I do, especially with Ricardo Hamos. That said, I'm gonna have more of him than Josh Culiba. I'm probably picking Hamos to win. Even I don't know, man. We'll see. Look at my my picks. I'll try to do them tomorrow. As of now, I'll pick Hamos. I'm not happy about it, but Culiba. I mean, this might be Monk's guy of the week that never ever scores well, and then I say don't play him ever, and he puts up 140. This might be
not cool. Stop it. Quiet.
I'm just saying this is the disclaimer because I don't want any fucking part of Culiba at all.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Here's one I wish I could shut my mouth for. Oh God.
This is I gotta read my notes for this one. Junior Tafa against Walter Walker. Oof. Tafa's minus 130. Walker's plus 100. Fight end of the distance minus 200.
Oh.
Yep. DraftKings salary. Don't help matters there because top is 8,200, Walker's 8,000. It's your mid-range fight. Great. You got the breakdown first, but the perfect intro here is I'm going to read right from my notes. What a low-level fight that is going to be fun and important for DraftKings. This is going to be fucking gross, but it's going to be gross and like you're drunk at 2 a.m. after I have an Applebee's watching 2 guys swing, and then you go, oh, I better have the winner on DraftKings because shit, that's 105.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. And by you, I mean us, everyone. You out there as well. This is I think you said minus 200 ITD. I mean, Junior Tafa has yet to win a fight in which he's been taken down. Walter Walker lost his last fight, but took Breshke down 4 times. It's what are we doing here? Like Walker's gonna take Tafa down. Tafa's not gonna get up till the bell rings. This is what is the over 2.5 on this? If you have, I don't know if you could easily pull that up without.
I can find the over 2.5 is not posted. Under 2.5 is plus 130.
Okay, so you're not going to
minus
get
180.
You're not going to get anything there. Yeah, I agree. I think this goes to decision.
Oh, do you?
I do, man. Like these dudes are terrible.
You can get plus 160 for that.
To go. Oh, I thought you said I must have misheard you. Then yeah, that's okay. It's not. It's 2 heavyweights. I kind of want over a 200 to go the distance if I could get it for heavyweights. But we know how heavyweights has been going lately. So yeah. Long story short, like you said, super low level. Usually I follow that by saying high variance, but I don't even think that's the case. Like these dudes suck. These dudes are bad. I think I'm gonna man. I think I'm going to pick Tafa, even though I think he spends 9 minutes on his back. So we'll see how that goes.
There's a technical breakdown. I'm going to help you out. Here's the technical breakdown.
We get a good from. Yeah, I guess we could get a good score. I'll be average GPP.
You should.
I'll be average GPP.
I'll be over GPP. I love this fight for GPP. I don't think it makes it out of the first round, honestly. Maybe into the second because it goes one of two. Well, and even if it does, the path where this fight scores terrible is what you mentioned. Walker gets his takedowns. Tafa lands the late KO. That's how it scores shitty. The fight breakdown, though, can Junior Tafa knock out Walter Walker before Walter Walker takes him down and dry humps him and probably submits him? That's what we're doing here. Can Tafa knock out Walker? I don't think Walker's very good. I think he can. I think Walker's going to come in reckless and get knocked in the fucking second row. However, even if Walker doesn't get a finish, it means he's late on Tafa for 15 minutes and has scored good enough at 8,000 to put him in contention. If this was Walker was favored, I'd start to having issues, and I like Tafa even more. But at these prices, just play him. That is the one path, in that Walker wins early, Tafa wins. Tafa gets the KO late. That's how it doesn't score well. Unless Walker's just going to stare at Junior Tafa, I guess, which is, I suppose, possible. You big fucking dummy. But again, he's a big fucking dummy. So fight pick, I'm on the Junior Tafa side. GPP special, I will have quite a bit of it. All right, and is that our featured prelim? And that could go one of two ways.
I think we're getting into some good fights now.
We are. I was a little surprised they put this next fight on the main card. But,
it should be a banger.
It should be a banger. They're pushing Prates, and for what it's worth, those in Asia, China, Japan, that area of the world, they use Australia, New Zealand, that area as and Hawaii too, as vacation spots. So maybe they're like, hey, come down to vacation, watch the Leech. Get a little bit of a draw from there. Maybe. I could be reaching. It is Li Jingliang, the Leech, versus Carlos Prates. Line on this fight. I was a little surprised at how wide this was, quite honestly. Prates is minus 345. Comeback on Lee is plus 245. Fight ends at the distance is minus 200. DraftKings salary, and this is my fight to take first, isn't it? I got a good one here. Prates is 9,200. The Leech is 7,000. Look, Prates, I think, has got finishes in 8 straight. Dude looks awesome coming off of wins against Charles Radke, Trevin Giles, Mitch Ramirez. He looks awesome after beating Mitch Ramirez, Trevin Giles, Charles Radke. Listen to the words coming out of my mouth. Prates is not a slam dunk. The Leech, who's only 2-3 in his last 5, is a big step up in competition for Prates. But Prates, 6 inches longer. The Fighting Nerds camp is a good camp. It's got plenty of hype right now. He is a good prospect. I am going to pick Carlos Prates, but I'm not confident enough in him to where I'm going to make him a core play. This fight is expected to finish. I think Prates is more violent. He can get takedowns. He's the heavier striking. He's the heavier striker. The problem is he doesn't throw a lot of volume. If you look at his wins, I know Monk's going to go over the stats. There's not a lot of striking volume. He better get the finish. Li Jingliang has never been knocked out, ever, in 27 fights. He's been submitted twice, but never been knocked out. You're going to rely on that here? I'm going to pick Prates because I do think he's better. But anybody telling you Prates is a slam dunk, I think needs to slow their roll just a little bit. I do think the Leech is a good GPP play, again, because of Prates' price. And you got to look, I would rather play anybody above him. I know it's above him, but Gamrot's 100 more. Jenkins is 400 more. Squeeze in Tom Nolan. Don't play Prates. There's other places. The guys above him are all better cash game plays, in my opinion. I see a couple red flags. I'm still going to pick him, but this is a step up. What do you got, Monk?
It's a definite step up. I am concerned with Li Jingliang. Hasn't fought since almost 2 years. In fact, September 10th, will be the 2-year anniversary of when he fought Daniel Rodriguez. He's only beaten Muslim Salikov and Santiago Ponzinibbio in his last 5, but his losses are Neil Magny, Hamzat, and the aforementioned Daniel Rodriguez. I think I like Prates a little bit more than you, but I think you're also right in the fact that this is definitely a lower cash play. Maybe just avoid it in cash. But I do like him for GPPs. I think he can score well. I think Li Jingliang can get caught. I know it hasn't happened. I just have a feeling. And Prates has 3 subs of his own. So he has, pulled that off in the past. Li Jingliang is liking to get subbed lately, or at least by Hamzat. and that was so quick that it makes you think that it could happen again. But I really like Prates, man. I think this. I'm a huge fan of the Fighting Nerds camp, and I'm excited to see what this kid can do. So this is going to be. He's a kid, 30, almost 31 years old.
He is a kid. We're fucking old.
Yeah, exactly. If he can beat Li Jingliang, I'm going to be even more excited about him. But yeah, I like Prates here, and I think I like him a little bit more than you. But I think you're also right in to not go crazy with him.
All right, let's move on here. Let's talk about. This is gonna make me sad. Tuivasa and Jairzinho Rosenstrike. I'll explain why I'm sad in a second. Although you should know. Jairzinho's -220. Tuivasa's +180. Fight ends inside the distance -600. We should see some violence. Rosenstrike is 8,900, under 9K. Tuivasa is 7,300. Look, why am I sad? Because we all love Tuivasa. He just keeps getting finished now. It's not looking good for our shoey chugging friend here, and finished losses to Cyril Gane, Sergey Pavlovich, Alexander Volkov, and even Marcin Tybura last time out, which is not a good look. But on the bright side, he's got somebody who's going to stand and trade with him. Downside, that's a scary man. He a big boy. Monk, you're first for this fight.
Yeah, obviously GPP darling fight here. Play both sides. Yep. One guy's way cheaper than the other, but the other guy's probably going to win. So you're going to have to balance that out. There's really not a bunch of technical things to say. You're going to see both guys stand and bang until one of them probably falls. And it is sad Tuivasa has lost 4 in a row. Can you believe it? 5 in a row. He's probably, could this be his last fight if he gets KO'd early by Rosenstrike? I sure hope not. I think he's a big enough draw to where the UFC keeps him around, but at the same time, how do you justify that with 5 L's in a row? And that's
if he loses, he's going to be fighting Alex Reyes next.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say is both guys are fighting the upper echelon of the heavyweight division, and that's not saying much. This is probably the worst division in all of the UFC, and it has been for a while. I mean, overall, cumulatively. But both guys are fighting, in their last 5 each, the upper-ish echelon of a terrible division. So at least that's good. GPP fight here, I'm picking Rosenstrike. Wouldn't be surprised if Tuivasa got the win, and I will be rooting for him.
Hot take, light heavyweight is worse than heavyweight.
Yeah, probably.
You
got
a middle,
right.
You got a middleweight who's champion right now. A middleweight champion.
Yeah, that's rough.
So, I mean, come on. Yeah, it's not a ton to add here. GPP special fight. I think Jairzinho wins. I think he's scarier on the feet than Ty. A little more technical, land something. But again, it's a high volatility fight. No safety, no cash game. Play both sides in GPPs. This is one of the ones to load up on. Make me make a pick. I will go with the favorite in Jairzinho Rosenstrike. And now we go to the gamer, Mateusz Gamrot, taking on Dan the Hangman Hooker, who looks nothing like his Tapology photos anywhere. I know it's all over social. It's still fucking hilarious. Like he discovered tattoos, and I could just, anybody who has tattoos will tell you they are addicting. I totally get it. Totally got a few. I get it. But Dan Hooker's taking that addiction to, nobody let Dan Hooker do coke. Because that's the kind of personality who ends up dead in the ditch. Clearly, or something else is going on. Not sure. Regardless, that's what I found to be a funny aside there. Poor Dan Hooker. The Gamrot is -340. The comeback on Hooker is +270. Gamrot is 9,300. Hooker is 6,900. I think Hooker is becoming a popular dog choice here. I finished my stuff on this afternoon, sort of poking around social as I do now that my decisions are made, and I saw a surprising amount of love for Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker has not got great takedown defense. Mateusz Gamrot is relentless going after them. He's got a really good double. I I think he's got more volume, wear him down. I think Dan Hooker's limited to catching Matush coming in. Like, I know he lost to Turner, but the striking clinic or match against Fiziev was great. And again, if Hooker's losing striking matches to Arnold Allen, Gamrot to me is better. Fiziev is better striking. He's coming off a wins to Claudio Puelles, a split decision win to Jalen Turner. I don't think he's all the way back yet. I think the odds indicate that. I think it's a bad matchup in terms of the grappling he's got to worry about. I like Matush in really all formats. If it wasn't for Tom Nolan, I'd say he's the pay up cash option. If you can get both in, I like Gamrot. I guess I'm alone apparently, or not alone, but there are plenty of people taking stabs on Dan Hooker. I'm not one of them. I will tell you I like Dan Hooker more than I like Alex Reyes. But I'll go this far. If you're making me pick between Dan Hooker or Herbert Burns and GPPs, I'm probably picking Herbert Burns.
Wow.
Higher volatility fight against Herbert Burns has got fucking what's his face? Jack Jenkins, and Dan Hooker's looking across against Matush Gamrot. Now I rate Gamrot really highly. He's got the split decision. It was a split, right? No, he's got the win. He's got the win over Arman Sarukian, who's going to be fighting for a title, right? We're all kind of agreed he's next. No?
Yeah, I would.
I don't know. I like Gamrot. I think it's a bad matchup for Hooker. How about for you?
Well, I'll preface it by saying I also like Gamrot. I'm going to pick him to win. But, yeah, I don't mind. I mean, how often do you get to play Hooker at 6,900? Come on, man. I can't believe you didn't even mention that at all.
If you're paying $6,900 for a Hooker, you better be in Thailand playing 6,900 baht and not fucking dollars.
Well, I ain't going to Thailand to get a Hooker, that's for sure. But yeah, I don't mind it. I mean,
look up Soapy Massage, Monk. Soapy Massage.
Yeah, everybody knows what Dan Hooker is, and he's gonna fight for your fucking money. I like Gamrot as well, but what are you gonna get with him here at 9,300? He put up 86 points against Jalen Turner. He put up 85 points against Fiziev in that finish, in which Fiziev got hurt. But still, he didn't hardly land any volume. He landed less than 2 strikes a minute against Turner, 2 strikes a minute against Dariush, 3 strikes a minute against Sarukian, and just over 3.5 against Dos Anjos. So Dan Hooker gets hit, but he also throws constantly. He's a wild man. Like I said, he's going to fight for your money. I'd much rather play Dan Hooker for his upside than Gamrot for his upside. Yeah, he could score 131 like he did against Dos Anjos, but we all know Dos Anjos was in the wrong weight class for that one, and yada yada. He put up 106 against Sarukian, but like I said, he put up less than 90 against those 2 other guys. So I'd rather have Hooker than paying 9,300 for Gamrot, and he doesn't even score me 90 points. Also, I don't know. I think I'd rather have Prates in cash than Gamrot, but I think personally for me it will be close. But yeah, I'm picking Gamrot. Like I said, I think he's going to win. But something about Dan Hooker, man, I can't ever count him out.
All right, let's move on. Co-main event time. Besides, I got to say some controversial, funny shit, or people wouldn't tune in. We got KaraFrance, who I feel like has definitely had at least one soapy massage in his life, taking on Steve Erceg. Erceg the favorite, minus 162 on DraftKings. KKF plus 136 on the comeback. Fight goes to decision, minus 225. Your DraftKings salary here, Erceg is 8,800. KaraFrance is 7,400. You're first for this one. I again, but I have to give my little commentary, I guess. I think this fight is the epitome. I want your take on this. The epitome of recency bias here. Some people were super surprised with Steve Erceg and his fight against Pantoja. I wasn't. It was a good performance, yes, but people I think are high on his performance against Pantoja, even though he lost. And people are so down on KaraFrance losing to Brandon Moreno. Liver kick. You get hit in the liver. You look good. He was winning that. Didn't he win the first round of that fight?
I think it was at least very close.
And Amir Abazi lost a split decision. Don't think he looked great in that fight. But Abazi, good fighter, not a scrub. Don't think KKF looked his best. And I think we get these, again, similar to the ONeal Santos, two trains going opposite directions, but recency bias feels weird here in that Ersig's minus 160 favorite, 8,800. I'm pumping my brakes. What do you have, Monk?
Yeah, I'm pumping my brakes for the whole fight. I'm not interested in this really at all. To be honest, I don't see Steve Erceg paying off that salary. I mean, he KO'd Matt Schnell in the second, 93 points in that one, but he scored 87 against Costa and less than 70 against Dvorak. So I'm not too interested in Steve Erceg at this price. And how's KaraFrance going to make the optimal lineup? He's probably going to have to finish Steve Erceg. And I don't think anybody's going to finish Steve Erceg. So even if he loses, I don't think he's getting finished. So therefore, I don't think anybody scores well in a decision, really. I think Erceg is pretty defensively sound. I mean, he did allow 5 strikes a minute and 9 takedowns to Alejandro Pantoja, who's fantastic. But 5 strikes a minute over 25 minutes, I mean, it sounds like a lot, but KaraFrance is 4. He's less than 4 in almost every fight, at least since the Garbrandt fight. That was the only one in his last 5 where he's had an outlier, and that was at 6.8 back when Garbrandt was at the lowest of the low. So long story short, I think it's a decision. I think Steve Erceg wins. Even if KaraFrance wins, I think it's a decision, and the winner scores 70 to 80, and I'm not impressed with either. So, yeah, I'm going to be pretty low on this co-main event for sure.
So, check out this take. I think it's interesting. One point I want to add in at the end here. I'm picking KaraFrance because I think the recency bias has gone too far. KaraFrance got 88% takedown defense in the UFC. I think he's the better striker, and he's super cheap. And the fight, but do I like him in GPPs to go all in on? No, because the ceiling is limited. But I do think he's a great cash game play. Solid floor, winning upside, 7,400. One of my favorite plays in cash. Do think he wins for the reasons I outlined, but regardless, I don't like Erceg. I would agree with you. It's kind of a pump the brakes type of fight. The most appealing part of this fight in DraftKings is Erceg in KaraFrance in cash games. Agreed. I think it's interesting, and what's actually holding me off from an outright bet on KaraFrance. This is New Zealand against Australia. This card is in Perth, Western Australia. Steve Erceg's in his backyard. KaraFrance strikes me as the kind of guy to fucking welter under that when he's getting the shit boot out of him. Like, he doesn't appear mentally tough to me in that situation. Maybe I'm totally wrong in that read, but he seems like the emotional kind of guy who it's going to affect him, and Erceg's going to feed off that. So when I break down the fight in a vacuum, I lean KaraFrance, and that's the pick is going to be, but that intangible is keeping me from making a bet. It really is. I just can't. Every time I go to, queue it up in DraftKings, I'm like, man, I don't want to put my money here outside of, like I said, I'm going to load him in cash games. It would be something weird has to happen in my build where I don't play him in cash, because I'll take my 20, 30 points on a loss and move on about my day at 7,400.
Exactly.
But I'm going to pick KaraFrance, but I have that concern. Let's talk about the main event of the evening. Dricus du Plessis, Still Knocks. Dumbass nickname.
I found out what that means, actually. I kind of like it.
What does it mean?
So the name Still Knocks, Stilnox, is what they call in New Zealand and England Ambien. That's what Ambien is called, Still Knocks. So it's okay. It's all right. I like it more than I did when I didn't know what the hell it meant.
I guess. Taking on the last style bender, Israel Adesanya. Line on this fight. Izzy is a slight favorite as of right now, minus 118. The comeback on Dricus is minus 102. Some books, plenty of books, multiple, have it minus 115 both sides. Fight ends at the distance, minus 165, which I know is going to make people sick to their stomach based on some of Adesanya's past performances. But remember, he did finish he finished Alex Pereira, and then he was not right in that Strickland fight. I think we can all agree here. And that's part of my breakdown. It is, unfortunately, I knew people were going to say this, and I'm a little bit in the echo chamber here. but I do believe in champ fatigue. I think that was a thing with how often he was fighting. I think he's refocused. He looks better. Definitely looks bigger. Hopefully the timing is still there. Clearly the better technical striker. Think he's got good enough takedown defense for Jenkins. Jenkins is going to bring pressure. I think Adesanya is going to handle the pressure better than he did against Strickland. And Jenkins has got a couple favorable scorecards here in this run. It was the God, why am I drawing a blank? The Strickland fight. That was, I think I scored that for Strickland, if I remember right. It was a close fight. You can't call it a robbery either way, but it's not like he was dominant here. He finished Robert Whittaker, finished Derek Brunson, Darren Till. It's not a super impressive run up here to getting the title. Middleweight, Izzy cleaned a lot of it out. Alex up at 205 now, not super strong. Not that Jenkins isn't a deserving champ. It's not like he's some world beater. I think it's a good fight. I think Adesanya is more focused. I like him to get the decision here in terms of volume, which I know Monk is going to talk about in terms of scoring. I think Jenkins' forward pressure is going to draw some volume out of Adesanya. Adesanya, again, every time you think he's going to throw volume, though, he doesn't. So I'm being a little bit cautious with it. I really do believe we're going to see a better Israel Adesanya. I just do. I think Adesanya, we're probably going to see who said, I hate to agree with Brendan Schaub. I saw a Brendan Schaub clip of all fucking people. And he goes, Izzy's going to be Jenkins. Izzy's going to get the win up against, the rematch against Strickland. And then Izzy's going to go fight Pereira at 205. And that's going to be his last fight as an MMA artist, a mixed martial artist. You're rolling your eyes. Is that the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard in terms of a path?
It's so stupid.
Why?
Why would you
agree with
up?
To finish, he's going to finish his career, or we'll come back down. He's going to have one more fight against Pereira. I do believe they're going to fight one more time. We're not done with this fucking story. Am I sick of it too? Absolutely. Maybe they'll make him come down. Maybe they'll do a catchweight. I don't know. I do think he's going to fight Pereira one more time. Whatever weight, fine. Whatever weight it's going to be, it's going to be. Maybe Pereira will lose at 205 and he'll come back down. I think we're going to have to see that fucking fight one more time because the UFC has been recycling some nonsense. By the way, to go total side tangent, if Bilal Muhammad fights Kamaru Usman, I'm fucking boycotting.
In what world does Usman deserve a fucking title shot?
It's brutal. Brutal. How you have to give it to Shavkat.
If he doesn't fight Shavkat, then
fucking nightmare.
It's fucked.
And you can't 100%.
They hate Bilal, so you know they're going to give him Shavkat.
I hope so. I hope so. The problem is they like Usman. And Usman's like, I could beat him. You know what I mean? They want the belt back on Usman. So I don't know.
I like Usman, but 3 L's in a row doesn't get you a fucking title shot. It used to get you cut from the UFC.
Fucking yeah, it's true. In terms of this fight, to put a bow back on this one, your DraftKings salary $8,300 for Adesanya, Duplessis $7,900. If I didn't say it, you can stack it up and probably stack it up in cash games. I don't think it's a mandatory stack. I would lean more towards Izzy just in my personal preference for the fight. This is one. It's funny. So DraftKings, play both sides. I'm on more on Izzy. I think it's as simple. Go a little over the guy you think is going to win, a little under the guy you think is going to lose. Cash games, do not prioritize either side of this fight. I think if it fits in, sure. I think put in your first 3 fighters who you want to play, and then start playing around. The guy I want to win, does he fit in with a couple other plays I like? Does the stack work? I think you can do anything, and that advice is. It sounds wishy-washy, and if it's your first time listening to this, you're like, what the fuck is this guy saying? He's not helping me at all. I don't typically do this. This is not a week to prioritize the main event. So I'm going to leave it there. My pick is Israel Adesanya.
I agree. Here's the issue. Izzy has woken up every day for the past 22 days now as a 35-year-old man. Now, we all know the stat about 35-year-olds and how they
35 is young, Monk. 35 is young.
Well, that's still, we all know the stat. It's like Tyron Woodley is the only person over like lightweight or welterweight. I don't know what weight class it was that's ever won a rematch in a title shot, something like that. It's like 1 in fucking 40. Yeah. So just let's throw that out there. Izzy not as young a man as he tends to act. So let's just keep that in mind. Also, Izzy never, ever, never scores well, ever. 85 points against Canan. This dude scores terribly in almost every fight early in his career, or I guess in the Pereira fight as well. So there are outliers that jump up every now and then. He'll put up a decent score, but for his total career, he's averaging 87.7 points per win. You're like, well, what about in his 5-round fights? Okay, it's 88.8. It's not even, it's 1 point more in 5-round fights. It is just nothing at all. And yeah, he does throw volume, 4 strikes a minute, almost 5 in several of his last few fights, but that is all he's doing. There's no non-significant strikes. There's no takedowns. There's generally no knockdowns for the most part. And there's definitely little to no control time. So you're not getting anything. If he doesn't get a knockdown KO first round, he's not going to score well. So that tells me I need to play Drickus, whether I think he's going to win or not. I honestly don't care who wins. I guess I'll root for Adesanya. I don't know. I'll probably pick Drickus just because I said the age thing, and he looks like a man possessed in some of his fights, and he's also got that miracle nose cure, so now he can breathe. So who knows? Pun intended there. But yeah, I'll barely take Drickus. I'll favor him ever so slightly in DraftKings, but actually no, I'll favor him in DraftKings, and I'm not playing. Izzy can beat me if he scores 120. Fine, that's cool. I deserve it, but I'll let him beat me. That just won't be my week this week. I'm not going to have much of him rostered at all.
All right, guys, that's all 12 fights, but don't go away. Not done yet. First, hit the like button, share with your friends, or fuck you. Really, really subtle like that. Join DFS Army. Links down below. NFL's coming. Talk MMA. Read the full notes. All sports. Tons of shit covered. I won't grill you guys too much with it, but go check it out, or at least drop a comment. Appreciate that. Kill shots. Why we named the show this. Got to find an underdog play, somebody who can help you win the slate. Who's going to unexpected, cannot be chalk, try and stay under 7,700, can't do the main event, can't do, can't take any chalk here. Like, for example, I think this week, I don't think Tuivasa is eligible for a kill shot. That is heavyweight chalk. Just is. So that being said, sneaky play to help you win a GPP. Monk, you got one ready for us?
That one's probably too popular. I don't want to take yours.
I don't know if you know. I don't know if you know where I'm gonna go here.
Oh, I figured you were going with the co-main. I'm
going. It's not high enough for GPP.
I don't trust this at all. But that's what a kill shot is, and it's going to be fun to watch. And it's going to be fun to root for. Is it going to happen? Probably not. Jesus Aguilar, 7,200 against the newcomer. If he wins, he's going to pay off that salary, guys. So that's the reason.
That was my backup. So we got a 1-2 punch here because that was my backup play. Give me Ricardo Hamos. Don't get guillotined, you motherfucker.
Right?
Just get takedowns. Stay on top. Don't get guillotined. And you're going to put up a good GPP score and pull off an upset.
Love it.
He's going to get fucking anaconda choked.
And you're going to need all these dogs this week when you get Tom Nolan in there. So,
yeah. Yep. All right, guys. That's what we got for UFC 305. 12 fights broken down in just about an hour. One last time. I know I keep asking, but it really does help the show. We're out here Tuesdays doing our thing. Hit the like button. Share with your friends. Monk, you got anything else?
That's going to be about it. An easy week. I'm looking forward to the weekend watching this pay-per-view. Let's go. Great main card.
When you guys see all the helmets at the top of the leaderboards on DraftKings, come back to this video, join DFS Army, and we'll see you next time. Good luck. Let's get it, guys.